Well, tell us a little bit, before we jump into your story, actually, let me do a definition here. What do you think, what do you believe there are the key attributes of a high performer?
Um, well, a high performer understands that they only have limited time on Earth, and they want to leave a mark in this world. And I think that's really important. You have to understand that you can only achieve so much, and you can only do so much in your life on Earth. And so, a high performer typically likes to take the risks and take risks, and they are aware about what is it that matters to them versus what matters to other people. And so they are focused and they understand where they want to go, regardless of what other people say around them.
Welcome to the show. Nathan Newberry here, your host. I have Javier here, who's going to tell us a little bit about his story. But I'm super stoked that you're on the call here with us today, John.
Thank you for inviting me, Nathan. I'm so
Yeah.
stoked to be here as well. I absolutely am excited to be interviewed by you. I've heard that you interview only high performing people, and to be considered a high performer, that means a lot. Thank you so much.
Good, good. Yeah. Well, tell us a little bit, before we jump into your story, actually, let me do a definition here. What do you think, what do you believe there are the key attributes of a high performer?
Um, well, a high performer understands that they only have limited time on Earth, and they want to leave a mark in this world.
Mm.
And I think that's really important. You have to understand that you can only achieve so much, and you can only do so much in your life on Earth. And so, a high performer typically likes to take the risks and take risks, and they are aware about what is it that matters to them versus what matters to other people. And so they are focused and they understand where they want to go, regardless of what other people say around it.
I love that. Yeah, man. Tell us about your success right now. I know a little bit, but tell the audience about like what you do, what you're doing right now, how you're helping people. Give us a synopsis of that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Nathan. So I wouldn't I wouldn't say I'm much of a success because apparently there are just so many other people who are more successful than me. I'm only 2 years in business, but I have something good going on. Just a little bit about my background, Nathan. I'm actually a mechanical engineer. I thought my path to financial freedom is becoming a really good engineer and maybe working in an oil rig or something. And that was my degree. It was a 7 year course. I passed the licensure exam, and all of a sudden I realized, wait a minute, this is not the life that I want to live. This is not the career that I wanted. I didn't really know that I'm more of a people person until later on in life. I thought I'm just like a really studious kid. Um, but I really didn't have the skills to do sales. I'm not a good salesperson. I don't really have a lot of good friends. I'm awkward as hell. I've been ostracized in my organization because I'm super weird. But it didn't
No,
really
you're
let me.
not, John. Don't
Yeah,
beat
I'm
yourself
really
up
weird,
here.
Nathan. Yeah, I like whatever hobbies people are having. I'm doing something different. Everybody goes left, I go right, and that's that's the kind of person that I am really. And I don't really care about what other people think. I don't like to cooperate. I'm just like focused on who I want to be. Um,
I think that's
and
a good trait of a high performer, that you don't care and you do things that are a little bit different than most, which is good. I like that about you.
yeah,
Keep
it
on doing
does
that.
help
Keep on
that I'm a
telling it.
little weird, so it's not that hard.
Yeah.
um,
But what do you do, man? What's your business? Help us dive into understanding that a little bit.
Okay, so my business, I started it back in 2022. It's called FlexiWorks Services. So when I jumped into business back during the pandemic, there's a lot of other businesses that started their own business like me. And the top challenge for most businesses is actually getting some leads in the pipeline. Like, hey, I asked everyone, what is it that's most important for you right now? It's mostly leads, more business, more opportunities. That's 90% of the problem of most small business, and it's actually quite true. Sales and is the lifeblood of every business. You can be wrong on so many things, but if you're wrong in sales, then I don't know how your business is going to survive. And so that's the type of business and service that we decided to specialize in, primarily focusing on lead generation. So when we talk about lead generation, there's multiple kinds depending on what makes sense for the business. We talk about email marketing, social media outreach, and cold calling, right? We realized that the success of that, somehow depends on our client's online presence, because 95% of the people who would like to meet you or schedule a call with you would do a little research before they actually meet you. They would check your website, they will check your social media, they'll see what content do you produce, what blogs do you write, and so it's really important to have online presence along with running a marketing campaign. So we started to delve into the world of branding, which is building websites, creating social media content, editing videos, and doing graphic design. Right. So back in 2022, I started with 3 people. Right. And right now I have a team of 30 people now in 2024. And we're providing service to more than 200 businesses all over North America.
Amazing. Yeah. That's awesome, man. Well, how did that all begin?
Thank
I mean,
you.
you told us a little bit of your backstory, which I really appreciate, but it didn't always start there, right? You talked a little bit about some of those things, but like bring us back to the understanding of like when you got into that gear, the high performance gear. Like, was it a tragedy, a challenge that you dealt with, or was this where you had an alighting moment where it's like, hey, a book, a title, a person, a mentor came out of nowhere and that got you into the gear where you had to be really serious and take this on? Like, what was it? If we really truly open and honest, and I think a lot of people can relate to some tough stories maybe that you even had, bringing it back to, where this all began. Where did that spark of high performance really ignite?
Absolutely. So, when I was an engineer, I just realized that the people that get to travel the most, get the most experiences, and are typically paid the most, are typically the salespeople. And as a project manager, I really didn't have a chance on getting that opportunity until So what I really did is I tried to do some sidelines, trying to practice doing sales. I took on selling insurance to commercial people. On the first year, doing sales, selling insurance, I almost sold one package, and it's only to my aunt. I never had any, and that ended quickly because this is not sustainable. I'm not doing sales every day, going out trying to meet people. I never sold anything except to my aunt, and I realized, wait a minute, maybe B2C is not for me. One day, I had an opportunity to become an assistant sales manager of somebody. As a mechanical engineer, I met a boss who he does international sales, and he was selling manufacturing equipment all over Asia Pacific, talking about different countries like Korea, Japan, Philippines, Indonesia, India. And so when I found a mentor, I really tried to absorb all of the knowledge. How do you build rapport? How I spent a year trying to understand how he turns cold conversations from strangers and all of a sudden making them best friends in a matter of a few conversations. And that's really what I learned. Eventually, I kind of copied what his technique and what he does as a salesperson, is a successful salesperson, that I eventually became a country sales manager for a large American multinational corporation here in the Philippines.
Hmm.
And that got me to the top of the corporate ladder. I realized, as fun as it is, somehow, your as a salesperson, your destiny is still not in your hands. So I have to say, during that tenure, I've had really good success. I started to sell around, $2 to $3 million a year selling manufacturing equipment, but it kind of ended when the pandemic hit,
Yeah.
and that's when I started my own business. I guess I realized that the real test of life is actually putting it into action and making myself the beneficiary of what I've learned in sales.
Hmm.
That's why I started my own business.
Yeah. And so you do a lot of marketing, you do a lot of all sorts of different things for businesses, which is really cool. What kind of shifted in for you of like how do you prevent like burnout that so many entrepreneurs have, right? Like how do you really kind of throttle that? How do you build out things in a way that's going to allow you to achieve the success that you have and continue to grow, but prevent you from that burnout that so many people have?
Absolutely. So I think burnout is really part of the process,
Mm-hmm.
but being burnt out consistently is not sustainable. At some point, you want to live your life. During the first year of my business, I've been working 14-hour days, Mondays up until Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
I take care. I'm the HR. I'm the human resource. I'm sales. I'm marketing. I'm operations. I'm recruitment. Everything.
Yeah.
And so it required me to work like crazy. I did that for 6 months. It doesn't hurt a lot because for success, it's like you're thrown off in an island, and you're, and then all of a sudden you have to survive. If this doesn't work, then I don't have plan B.
Yeah.
This is my plan A and nothing else. And so it does help that I'm a little anxious. That kind of fueled me to keep on striving to improve the business. Maybe at some point that I had 30 clients and I had enough cash flow coming in, then you start to realize that you also have to learn how to smell the flowers, and you also have to I can't really scale this business if it's just me. My 24 hours would not be enough to scale the dream business that I want to have. Like right now, we're running at, I'm looking at the number of hours that my team is putting up. We're running at around 800 hours a week of work. Like, how could a potential solopreneur take on 800 hours when I only have 24 hours a day? And so it's absolutely important that you bring in team members as soon as you can. Maybe not necessarily. So I found a way in our system wherein I could absolutely delegate some things to my team members, even if it's just 1 hour a day. Like, say for example, sending email marketing campaigns, or maybe sending billing or collections to my prospects, or setting up setting up email marketing campaigns. Just takes an hour or two a day, and as soon as I learn a process and I realize that somebody else can do it too, I just pass it on.
Mm-hmm.
Now they may not do it 100%, but if they're 80% there, I'm not super fixated on being perfect.
Yeah.
But I'm fixated on being done well.
Yeah. Yeah.
At the end of the day, it does the job.
How do you
They get the
balance
message.
it all? Yeah, how do you balance it all? How do you structure your day so you have time for yourself and manage it? Because I think I remember you saying you kind of prioritize working 4 days a week now, and you have more time off. Like, how do you structure your life? How do you balance things now? As a high performer, how did you get to that point, and what do you put in place to really dial that in?
Got it. So Nathan, I realized that in order for me to become best at my work, to be able to give, when you're in business, you're an entrepreneur, people wanted to be served. My team, you want it. People want to take stuff from you. Like maybe you want to take your energy, they want to get your advice, they want your support. Some clients are looking for help. You're really gonna run out if you don't reserve anything for yourself. And so I really make sure that I prioritize myself before I start working. So when I wake up, so just so you know, I'm in the Philippines and I'm providing service to clients all over North America, mostly in Eastern time zone. So I wake up around 2 p.m. my time, and then around 3 a.m. I try to read a book, a book about something that I like, this something that I can learn from. 4 p.m. I hit the gym. Maybe I go to the gym for an hour, and then from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. I walk. I just walk. I feel that walking is really important, one of the most important parts of my day, because a lot of the times, because I'm having so many conversations in social media with my clients, with my team members, with my prospects, that I don't really have the time to process them at the end of the day. And so the time that I'm walking, no headphones, just listening to my thoughts, that's really important for me that allows me to listen to myself and tell me what are the next strategic moves that I have to do. And so I spend an hour doing that, and then go back home and then have a really good meal, and then get ready to work. I typically start my working day from at 8 p.m. my time, and end it around 6 in the morning. So I take 1 hour breaks in between, and if for some reason there are breaks within the day, I just jump on to networking events. It's a really great way to meet people, and find really good referrals or collaboration partners. So it does help that I actually enjoy meeting people, because if you're not enjoying meeting people, then you're probably not in sales. Right. I think the really key component is you enjoy people, you're genuinely curious about what they offer, who they are as a person, and what value do they bring to the world. And it does help that I enjoy that. And up to now, I'm probably not going to retire, even if, because I absolutely love doing sales, meeting people, and I'm eternally curious what other information and skills and techniques other people are doing out there.
Curious mind. That's always important. Yes. For a high performer. And so many people have a contentment. They get to a stride of success and they just chill, right? And you and I are always cut from a different cloth. And I think so many people that are listening to this podcast, as a high performance person, that kind of drives, they always are like looking for the cutting edge, or looking for different things to really kind of help them propel themselves for success. And I love the fact that you're taking the time for yourself to walk and think. I remember reading some books, and I remember Warren Buffett, and so many successful people like Bill Gates and all these guys. They actually set aside their time in their calendar for, I think Warren Buffett calls it, looking out the window time. It allows you to think and process it. And I love that you carve that time out, because so many people, I think, don't give that rest and their way to the journal in a way to process what they're thinking and how their day is, to really kind of cope with the pressure and the buildup of everything. So I love that about you. With your success that you have, what if someone was trying to accomplish or level up to the level you're at, what would be the keys of success that you would give them? What would you define as some things that are key for your success, I should say?
Well, first of all, I think they have to understand that my success whatever works for me doesn't necessarily mean it will work for them, because we're all made differently, and you have to you have to they have to find their own path, right? But at the same time, I think it's really important that they are focused, and they they try to understand that they have to know what's their path, and not what other people are talking about, are wanting for them. Because as you try to get better and do more things in your life, a lot of people would want it to take your time, and a lot of people will want to steer you to a different direction. You may also get hate, people, and also there's a lot of risks involved. But I think it's really important that you are determined to follow whatever it's for you, and not what others are doing. So
Yeah.
you really have to understand that, and
There's
listen
many,
to your gut.
there's many entrepreneurs here, or even people that listen to this, that want to become an entrepreneur and they want to drive this. Like, what would be the advice of things, maybe disciplines or habits or traits that are really important that you've had to understand early on when you built your business that they need to adopt? Or people that are in the grind right now as entrepreneurs, but they just are still trying to look for that edge for the next level. What would you advise them of traits, habits, disciplines, or things that you've learned in your years of business that would apply to them?
Got it. As an entrepreneur, you have to make sure that your head is not down. You always have to have the time to work on the business, not in the business, and that means you have to have some quiet time to think about the strategies that you want to implement. You always have to have some time to try things that may or may not work out. You know, I tried different things for my marketing. Some of them failed, but once I found something that's working, then it's a gold mine. The other thing is, you always have to spend some time to sharpen the saw before you start hacking away on the business. You have to come up with a really good personal brand. You have to identify a marketing strategy, and I try to understand really what your market says. So a lot of people go into business having a really, really good idea, but the market did not respond to it,
Yeah.
right? And so being a salesperson, having the time to have a conversation with your potential prospects and clients will help you lead to a product or solution that exactly fits your. So it's really important to listen to what the market says, because you have to be able to your business and your solutions should be the solution to your target market's clients, and don't be afraid to switch when things change. And since we started a business, we had a lot of changes. There's a lot of shifting that we have to do, whether it's through adopting social media, adapting AI, and adapting how market trends, adapting how different platforms are moving, and adapting how the algorithm works. You have to learn how to be adaptive and be able to switch and change, because marketing is an ever changing industry, and you have to keep an eye out. Otherwise, you lose relevance.
Yeah. Yeah. With what you do right now, what are the everyday carry items? I think there's so many people that have some unique things that they carry around with them every day. You leave the house, you bring your phone, your keys, no doubt, but is there anything unique that you do or you have or you wear or you bring with you that's an everyday carry for you? What does that all look like?
Um, Funny, I don't really get attached to any material things.
Mm-hmm.
I just so here's the thing. What gets me motivated going to the gym is, you know, having breakfast in the lounge area and having some pastries. So
Yeah.
I think maybe that's my trick. I have to keep you know, I don't really like working out. I just do it because I think it's important. It helps my, you know, they say where the body goes, the mind follows.
Mm.
But I do give myself some treat when I start the day by having some pastries next to the gym. I guess that's something that I do that not a lot of people do,
Yeah.
but it helps me jumpstart the day.
That's cool, man. I mean, so what I'm gathering from you is you have this business that you built that you help a lot of people, and you first started with trying to find what are ways that I can help people. And out of the source of COVID, you really kind of built some things, and around your schedule, you've built this high performance atmosphere for yourself, and you've prioritized your health and your mind, and walking, and then delegating, which is not always easy for high performers. They want to control so many things, and you've delegated and learned some of those skills of leadership and growth. And you're continuing to do that in your business. um, this has been an awesome conversation with learning what you do and how you help people. How can people connect with you further, John? I'll leave all the links down below for people to connect with you, but what are the best ways that people can find you online and connect with you?
Yeah, you can typically find me on LinkedIn. Name is John Javier on LinkedIn, founder of FlexiWorks Services. I also have a YouTube channel and my email address. And if you're looking for tips or any advice, I'll be happy to help out. I love helping out entrepreneurs.
Mm-hmm.
I always see them as the same person that I was 2 years ago when I was struggling and figuring things out. And I'm an advocate of helping entrepreneurs grow and scale their business.
Love that. Any last thoughts before we jump off the call today? Any words of wisdom or guidance you give?
So my last thought is that if you want to be a really successful entrepreneur, you have to master yourself first and exhibit discipline, because your business is a reflection of yourself.
I love that. Well, thank you so much, John, for being on the podcast today. Everyone, we have those links down below. You can check things out. And again, thank you for being on the podcast here. We'll see you next time.
Thank you. Thank you, Nathan. It's a pleasure being here.